Hello everybody, it's Dr. Zaino with Dr. Patrick Jim Temple for 15-Minute Fuel, where just in 15 minutes a day, we'll fuel your mind, your body, and your future. All right, so thanks so much for in your lovely home right here, and we had a great trip where we're actually developing kind of the hero spearhead, what we're doing, you know, the I am hero thing, where we're just kind of developing what is this next acting phase. So I've been blessed to have Patrick sit down and we just work through it. And sometimes you have to leave your current environment to go on the top of a mountain. Here, scan if you can. Just look over there with the mountain. So you got to kind of be on the mountain top to, have that full vision come out. So that's what we did today. So and by the way, all of you who have already emailed me today and texted me today, I'm okay. Because I appreciate that, because you guys are used to becoming a part of your life, and I am so honored because I know your time is your greatest commodity, and the fact that you allowed me to, my wife and everybody, come into your life on a certain time every day, and you're looking and expecting that. So number one, I apologize, I didn't let you know earlier, but we're doing it. I promised you 365 days a year, and we're doing it. So thank you so much, because just the way you acted with emails, wondering if I was okay, I am. I'm better than okay. So thanks so much. So today we're going to talk about your stand is your brand. So kind of go over that. This is something, this is something new. It's not new, but it's been kind of fermenting a little bit, getting, so to speak, rising up. So explain to that, because it's super powerful.
Sure. So first of all, I gotta give credit. The actual phrase "your stand is your brand" actually came from my wife. We were sitting in LA at a little cafe and talking about it. I was giving a presentation to a large group in Southern California, and I was drawing the connection between your philosophy, your core values, your premises about your life, your view of reality, etc., and how that translates into a brand. And that's when she said, "So what you're saying is your stand is your brand?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's only saying it better than I did." So you're actually, with I Am Hero, this is, I think, a really good use case or a case study on what I mean by your stand is your brand. You're willing to say some pretty polarizing things because you have a certain view of reality. For example, you're willing to say that wanting to be admired is a virtue. Right. Most people look at that as a very negative thing, and people wouldn't want people to ruffle their feathers or think you're going to think bad at me if I feel like admiration is something that should be sought. Oh, no, you have to be humble, you have to have humility. I'm not saying being humble and humility is bad, but if you did something in your life that you created value and you have self-admiration, which is the most important kind, and other people admire it, then you're making the world a better place by doing that. So you're taking a stand saying that maybe the characterizations of pride and admiration are, maybe people paint as a negative thing. You're willing to say that, in the proper, healthy context, these things could be very positive. So here's the point. If you don't have a stand, if there's not something in life that you see as a problem that you don't care about enough, then your life is becoming something that is, you're hearing the dog, hey, Miguel, can you get whatever's in the dog? This is live, right? I love live. So, just take that away from me. Perfect, thank you. So the idea is that if you don't care enough about something, you're not taking a stand on something, then your life becomes mediocre. Everything around you is mediocrity. And it's not just a matter that it's got to be some huge thing that affects the whole world. You take a stand for yourself and your own health and fitness. You take a stand as a parent, don't you? If you've got kids, and you're trying to raise them a certain way with a certain set of values, and you don't take a stand on these values with these kids, what happens to your kids' lives? How about a stand in your relationship? How about a stand in your finances? How about a stand in your spiritual life? Maybe you have certain spiritual beliefs that might be somewhat unpopular, but if you're not willing to speak up about it and take a stand on it, then what are you doing? You're hiding your life. You're pretending to be something small and insignificant and indifferent. So in my mind, a lot of what I like to do is, with new businesses we're working on today, is brand development. And so when people say I want to create a brand, which I've started 16 companies in my life, actually just started the 17th. So with that, the first thing I have to do is write down what are the core values of this company. What's the most important core premise or view of reality from which it operates? What's its statement of purpose? And all these things go and describe the brand that you're going to create. Meaning, what are you known for? What are you known as? So you have personal brands that could be, like I said, you have a brand to your relationship. People will look at my wife and I, and there's a certain brand our relationship has in the eyes of other people. Our parenting, we just decided to homeschool our kids. We pulled them out of school. Well, that branded us, and it's polarizing. And some people think that you should see. Well, that's great. Other people, you are irresponsible parents, right? I just took a stand on vaccines with a project with a couple of partners called Vaccines Revealed. I've been called a baby killer, for the past 8 weeks, and a conspiracy theorist. But I have to tell you, I worked really hard on it, and it made a big difference in the world. So isn't it weird that I've had probably the most fun I've had in a very long time working on this project? In the meantime, I'm being called a baby killer because I'm taking a stand, and it's based on values that are real to me, so it matters. So when we say your stand is your brand, those are the things I'm referring to.
And just think about that. And if you had a stand, wouldn't you be proud of that stand? Because one thing, when we talk about the hero thing, you have the hero, and then you have the villain. At least they took a stand for something. Right. I have more respect for the villain than the person in the secret identity that doesn't take a stand.
That's right.
Because you cannot serve the world or others or yourself when you're indifferent and do nothing.
That's right.
So, and I really think that is the majority of people living is because they feel they can't, or they shouldn't ruffle the cage a little bit. And because of that, they're grieving their potential.
Right.
And as long as they grieve their potential, it's just that it's part of their soul dying off because they're never living up to what they were created to be.
Yeah, and I think this characterization I just think is such a poignant one where you talk about grieving your potential, and you've experienced it yourself. We all have this when you feel a little bit depressed about your life. And sometimes, and you just were on the receiving end of this, if you don't mind me talking about it, is that you're saying, hey, you live an abundant, successful life. I mean, really at the top of the game that people play in the field that has been your chosen field. Yet there's a sense of depression, and some people, typically the mediocres, will look and say, wow, aren't you appreciative of what you got? Look at the life you have. Look at blah blah blah. And that's not the point. It's not the point that, geez, I can't be grateful for the blessings that I have. But when you still feel like there's something missing, it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but the idea, and that's why I like it, the idea that you're mourning something, you're grieving something, saying there's something unfulfilled in me. So, which means not that I need to get something, it probably means I need to be somebody that I'm not being right now and not expressing. There's an unexpressed part of you. So I think that most people, because people I hang out with are mostly entrepreneurs, they're very successful entrepreneurs. Yet we can have these conversations, and they can have the money, they can have family and all the great things, but there's still that something that says I'm not fulfilled here. So the consequence, I think, translates into the thought of a grieving potential. And so if you're there right now saying, I'm either grieving my potential because I'm not fulfilled in what I'm doing, or I'm successful and I still feel like something's missing, I think the idea of that mourning, or that it's a unique characterization that I think you've self-discovered and have put into the world that has significance, and it's, how can I put it? It's not something I hear other people talking about.
And something that when we were talking, it was kind of brought out in me, because I was playing the story in my mind. And so there's two. So that there's those of you that you're sitting there and you feel you never reached your potential, and you're wearing the secret identity, and you're realizing that, the grieving the potential. But then there's those of you that are doing well, and things are doing great, and you're feeling, well, why do I feel torn? And I think the story I was telling myself was, I felt I peaked, like a boxer, right? When you always think of the boxer, well, Evander Holyfield, he peaked, and they showed you he went down. Or Tyson, he peaked, and he went down. So I had this story, this backwards story that, hey, Chris, you peaked in chiropractic, and now there's only one way, and it's down. And not knowing that that is just a twisted story that has no truth in it whatsoever. Right. But it's so easy to feel like hey, maybe there's a curtain call. Maybe so when's my curtain call? Like, I guess I need to enjoy I had the ups, I need to enjoy the downs, but it was just a lie, knowing that maybe there was a part of my career that I hit, or a top of a mountain, but not knowing that, like we said, when you hit the top of the mountain, there's another peak that you need to be able to embrace, but it might be different, it'll be a little bit more challenging, like you might not have clarity, but that's okay. We already say, like, like you told me, like, hey, this end goal, you might not know the program, but that's okay.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to know that now. So I think a lot of times you don't want to take that step right now because you're afraid of the unknown. And we talked about the unknowns. It's the guarantee. Embrace the unknowns. But you could just take the step knowing that it doesn't have to be perfectly planned out. You don't have to know the end result. You just need to be able to take the step and enjoy the magic carpet ride, as you have to say.
If the purpose is strong, I'd say, if your purpose is strong, then when you go into the unknown, you're on kind of this magic carpet. It's what my wife and I call it, the magic carpet ride, that we go and lead you places you can't possibly anticipate or predict. But if you don't have a strong purpose, instead of a magic carpet ride, you get a tornado. You're whipped around and the crap gets beat out of you, and it's kind of demoralizing. So this is where it's important to say that you know your values, and this is, we keep going back to.
So here's the practical, because I know the practical is values, and we had it on previous shows on the title "How to Find Your Core Values." So and believe it or not, how do I find my core values? I learned from Patrick. So what I taught you there is very congruent with what you're saying, because what he's talking about, because sometimes people say values and they have different ways of getting there. But no, so what I talked about was what we're talking about here. So I kind of went through that with them. So
good.
And why are the values so strong? Because people say, well, how do I know my purpose is strong?
Right.
So what do I have to measure up to say, yeah, this is a strong purpose, and this is a purpose that once you do this, or once you get a little hate, you're out.
Right.
So how do we know that this is a strong purpose with the values?
One of the things that's a clear indicator, which you actually spoke about, is your energy levels. If you've ever been like dead tired, worn out, you've had a long day, it's maybe even after a long meal, some beers or wine or what have you, and the topic comes up that's related to that purpose, and next thing you know, you're alive, you're talking, you're animated, etc. As you said, you went like into hyperspeed and hyper productivity. Like, where did all this energy come from that you produced all these videos, got all this work? Because you're on purpose. So I think there's a spiritual energy that comes from a true purpose that is kind of unprecedented in your life. And if you find that you're not bouncing out of bed in the morning, you're fatigued, you're burned out, then you probably don't have the right purpose.
And that's a really good, because a lot of times I think when someone says purpose, you're actually referring to what someone else thinks you should be doing.
That's right.
Like you should go to college and do this, or you should do this like the family did. So don't get a subordinated value what someone else thinks your life should look like, or what someone else's life look like on TV to be your purpose. It has to be that one thing that if I gave you $50 million and said 2 months from now, what would you be doing? For free, that would be the thing you're doing.
Yeah, I can give you a perfect example, a proud father moment just recently. Mm-hmm. My 15-year-old daughter, who is an extraordinarily gifted and talented singer and artist, and she writes great songs, and she now knows her purpose is to make music, to sing, and to put that into the world. And the mediocres come to her immediately and say to her, okay, so but what's your fallback position if that doesn't work, right? Isn't that the first thing, right? The first, and they think that they're doing her a favor by hey, don't get starry-eyed, and because this might not work out. Do you know what the odds are? I mean, all that kind of horseshit, if I can use that term live. And what my daughter said is, I don't have a fallback position. This is it for me.
How old's your daughter? 15?
15. There is no fault. This is it for me. So that's when you know your purpose. When somebody can't talk you out of it for a fallback position, that's when you know you've got your right purpose.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so core values, what else?
So from the core values, you create the statement of purpose. To me, the statement of purpose should be constructed this way, which I got from Alex Mendoza, we were talking about him earlier, is that there's two pieces. The first piece is defining the urgent problem. In other words, you have a purpose because you see something in the world that's not right that you want to make right. So what is the urgent problem, and then how is what you're going to do a unique solution to that problem? And then if you can craft that in a compelling way that is aligned with those core values that you created, now that becomes your brand. It's the stand you take. It is it's basically that line of demarcation. And I will tell you, the more polarizing you can make it, meaning the clearer, saying, it's black and white, not very fuzzy, because confused minds do not buy. And I'm not talking about just purchase a product. I'm talking about they're not buying your message. So you get clear on those things, and then you evolve into a brand. So here's, I think, the biggest mistake people make. They look at statement of purpose and core values as a corporate exercise. You do it on a weekend. Hey, I got that nailed. You throw it in the drawer, and we move on to other stuff. As compared to saying that we live this stuff. It's in every fiber of our being. And I think no matter what your position is, whether you work for somebody else, you have your own business, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't matter. Core values and a purpose behind what you're doing is critical. And the more mind space you give to it and energy and focus you give to it, the better your outcomes are going to be.
In fact, one of the things that we knew that we were on the right track is the goose pump. I mean, like, literally, like, we're sitting there when we do it, like, remember I talked about when you have that vision, and I would used to visualize and I would embody it till I would get emotional and make that thing in the future I would like to accomplish actually become a physical manifestation? Well, the goose pump thing, and it's just like, because you believe it so much, or it really resonated with your heart and soul, that's when we knew it was rooted deep. And so that's something I could stand behind on, and I could take a couple punches and be like, you're not going to move me.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, Vaccines Revealed was perfect. So if you guys have vaccines, what's the website?
Vaccinesrevealed.com.
So I mean, if you've been under a rock, I mean, you would. So vaccinesrevealed.com. If you go and watch that and look at that right now, you'll see that was a stand, and it was deep rooted. And because of that, it became a tremendous. It freed so many people that had those secret questions that they didn't want to tell anybody about. Right?
And it continues to do so. And here's the interesting thing about that. I've always cared about that subject for over 20 years. And when it was convenient, I would speak to it. But with SB 277 in California, SB 18, when I saw it was being proposed, I finally got to a point. And this is the whole hero thing where it said, it's no longer just okay for me to even say, okay, when it's convenient, I'll speak my mind on this. It was a matter of saying, I need to take action. Meaning, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it. I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to up the ante on this one.
And I think something, because you've studied Nathaniel Branden amazingly. What was that one thing? No one's what?
No one's coming.
No one's
coming to save you.
So remember, he used to say, no one's coming to save you, because what that does is you felt that no one else, because a hero does that. You feel like when you see the people hurting, that no one else is going to do anything about it. And in that moment, even though it might have took 20 years for you to finally get to the point, be like, then my stand becomes my purpose.
That's right.
And that's when you said, well, then it's no one's coming, so I have to be the one.
That's right.
But here's the thing: there had to be a sense of pride and self-awareness and self-esteem to say, I'm willing to embark on that.
Yep. I had to be willing to say, I am right.
I am. Right.
That I am right. It's okay to say I appreciate other people's points of view and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is, we talk about an urgent problem. There are kids being injured and killed, families being destroyed, all based on lies. And it was no longer tolerable to my own conscience and sense of conscience to just stay on the sidelines on it. So it was time to now do something. And Nathaniel, it's the second pillar of self-esteem that they teach us 6 pillars, is self-responsibility. And his theme on self-responsibility is no one is coming to save you. It's going to be, you got to do it. And I'll tell a funny story if you don't mind. One time, Nathaniel was teaching a workshop on this, and he kept saying, no one is coming, no one is coming. Somebody raised their hand and said, Nathaniel, but you came. And he said, yes, I came to tell you that no one is coming. So it is, one of the things that gets you to feel self-respect is to become self-responsible.
And that is really that is a key quality in every hero. And the punchline here is everybody has heroic seeds in them.
Yes.
So it's like, this is not just for some people. It's that if you're sitting and watching this, you have the same seeds of greatness. You just haven't become aware of it, or you believed a lie of it. So this is not that person. Everybody has that. And once you could embody the self-responsibility to make a stand in what you believe in, that's when you make this world a better place. And that's a life worth living. That's a heroic life to live.
That's right.
And who wouldn't want to live that?
Exactly. And that's what if you sit back right now and say, what is life about for me? Because there's really 2 points of view. It's either about making it through, right? Somehow surviving this thing, which, you all make it through. What's it going to say in your tombstone? Here I lay, I made it through. Or it's about doing something that you valued and that you found to be significant, that you feel like your life mattered. So, and it's not like I can't force you to want to matter. But I think what you've identified, and that's what I love about I Am Hero, is that my premise, which we share, is that I think all human beings were born with seeds of greatness, that they aspire. The natural state for a human being is to aspire, not to shrink. But mothers, fathers, teachers, preachers beat this out of us. You know, we actually put that into the words of your premise. It gets beaten out of us, and the consequence is that we live those quote-unquote lives of quiet desperation, just making it through. So I love your project because it basically is taking a strong stand on finding those seeds, those embers that are still inside of everybody, taking a stand against mediocrity and letting that come back out in human beings. And if we have that, this world's a better place.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to close with that one. So if you're watching this, let's hit thumbs up, lots of hearts, punch that share button. If you're watching YouTube Live, there's a bell. Hit the bell. Say hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell and share this stuff, because this is stuff like in a world that we're living in, this is the stuff that's going to make someone a much better person. We just thank you so much. Any comments below or any questions, we'll answer that after that. Is there any like one question or something we could ask there if you got?
No questions, just a couple of comments.
Right, good, Mac?
They're really hitting on the no fallback thing.
Yep.
No fallback. All right, so at least leave with that. So thank you guys so much. Go to vaccinesreveal.com, right?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about that, sure.
Check that out. I personally supported myself with all my patients, and also when I actually got the whole kits and everything you name. It was there was so much value there. Thank you so much for doing that. It was top notch. Sure. The quality was amazing. So thank you so much, everybody. Have an amazing Saturday, and tomorrow is Sunday. And that's Sunday. So Justice and I will be on there and on location giving you the Sunday, and have an amazing day. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you for blessing me.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys soon with 15 Minute Fuel.
Take care, bye.